Okay. Either way, I'm just going to dive in. Okay, so today's tweet paper is Reading Gives Us Someplace to Go When We Have to Stay Where We Are by Mason Cooley. The tweet comes from @Martina A. Boone on Twitter. And I'm doing this one in honor of International Literacy Day. Reading gives us someplace to go. Just stay where we are. Reading big gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. Okay, I think that's all set. I wonder. Hello, thanks for joining, Bianca. I just kicked this off, and would you be able to tell me if the audio is coming in okay? I'm trying something new right now. Okay, sounds good. Good, thank you. And hello, Diva Does For Good. I'm doing a project called Tweet to Paper. There we go, hashtag Tweet to Paper on Twitter. And still kind of experimenting with the two cameras set up here. So Tweet to Paper I started back in January, and it was kind of a way to push my creative boundaries and try to engage more with my social media network on Twitter, mainly Instagram and all this stuff. So today I found a tweet inspired by International Literacy Day and decided to draw it up live on Blab. And the tweet reads, or the quote from Mason Cooley, "Reading gives us someplace to go when we have to stay where we are." It's your favorite day other than your birthday. That's great. Yeah, so I think no matter where you are, no matter, oh, you're a reading teacher, excellent. No matter where you are in life, in economic class, or whether, you know, you're in school or just kind of, you know, hanging out, reading is a great way to like go on adventures. And I forget who said it, but it's basically, I think it was Carl Sagan, right? Reading a book, Reading a book is basically the closest we can get to getting inside someone's mind. When we open that book, we are literally feeling the thoughts and the feelings that the author from hundreds of years ago, from 10 years ago, we're experiencing it in our own personal way. And I think it's very cool. Thanks, Elspeth, not Elizabeth, for tuning in. Today's theme is based off of International Literacy Day. Yes, reading is very, very cool. And I think what I love most about reading, it's a very active form of entertainment. We're reading these words and we're using our own kind of experiences, I do too, to kind of form what this universe looks like in our minds. If we've seen a lot of reading can take you all the places you've ever dreamed of going. This is true. I mean, I always encourage traveling, but if you can't travel, I mean, that's what studying is for, right? It's trying to get in there and trying to, like you said, lose yourself in these experiences that you would have never otherwise had. So right down here, I have my sketchbook that I'm starting to work on. You see, I laid out where I want all my words. So reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. And that's where everything is hopefully going to go. I have my nice drawing pencil right here. After that, I'm going to hit it with my Pentel Feud brush pen. Later, I'll clean it up with my microns, and then I'll add some color with my Copics. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. That's a classic. Although I prefer the Simpsons quote. If you guys were classic Simpsons fans, Mr. Burns paid, 1,000 monkeys working on 1,000 typewriters to recreate. That's not a Mice and Men. Best of Times. Tale of Two Cities? No, War and Peace. That's War and Peace. To recreate War and Peace. And, he reads what the monkey pulled off wrote on the typewriter. And it was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. Awesome episode. All right. So first things I'm going to do here. Oh, and if anybody ever wants to jump in, I want to hear what your favorite book is. For me, it's The Tao of Pooh, which I actually have. Hold on. Give me a moment. I have here, but one of my pets got to it several years ago. So it's a little bit damaged. But The Tao of Pooh is amazing. It's a nice little book on the philosophy of life, I suppose. And as you read through the book, you see how each character in the Winnie the Pooh universe kind of views their life. Rabbit is very busy. He's always wondering what the next thing to do is. Piglet's very scared of everything. Eeyore is obviously a downer. Owl is, he's just kind of all about soaking up information and trying to be better than everybody. But Pooh, he just kind of appreciates life for what it is, that no matter what stage you're in. And it's just a great little lesson on life and kind of going with the flow. So that's one of my favorite books. Looks like Diva Does For Good is joining us here. Let's hope I don't create any audio issues. Hi, hello.
You did go down a little bit, just so you know, but it's okay. I wanted to jump in and say hi real quick and tell you what my favorite books are.
Excellent.
Like I have a million.
Oh, okay. But that's a good problem. Not a problem.
Growing up, my favorite was Where the Red Fern Grows. I read that when I was in 4th grade. And then The Diary of Anne Frank I read when I was in 7th grade. Oh, and my sister lost The Diary of Anne Frank when it was her turn to read it. And I literally cried for 2 days because that was my book.
Oh, man.
But I get to teach it now, so.
Oh, that's awesome. I remember reading that. Yeah, 6th or 7th grade, Diary of Anne Frank. Yeah. And right after we watched it, we watched the movie, which when I was in 6th grade came on Laserdisc. I don't know if you remember that. Laserdisc. It was an amazing technology. Yeah. So I've never read Where the Red Fern Grows. What is it?
Well, it's about, is it? I'm trying to remember. If I'm not mistaken, it's about a boy who has 2 dogs and he gets them when they're puppies. And they basically grow up with him throughout his whole entire adolescence. And then we watch him grow up to be a young man. And then we watch the dogs transition through life and how they protect him and the things that they go through. And it's really good. It has a sad ending, but it has a great story.
Don't tell me they die. Do they?
I'm not going to tell you anything. No spoilers for me. I would never do that. I would never in my life. Okay. But I'm obsessed with reading and literacy, and I promote it like all the time. I've been teaching it for 10 years. So it's an amazing thing. I'm not telling my age. I'm only 25. So
okay. So where do you teach?
I teach in Dunedin, Florida.
Okay.
Yep, I teach in middle school. I taught high school for 3 years, and then I transitioned to middle school, and I've been in middle school for the past, seems like forever. It's my 7th year. So yeah, and then I love reading and books so much that I actually became a book blogger, and I actually work with romance writers and do promotions for them. So
ooh, saucy. Do you want to give a little shout out for your blog here?
My blog is Diva Does For Good. You can actually find me on Facebook. I'll type it in for you, and you can find me. I have a website and everything. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. I'm everywhere.
Okay, excellent.
I make teasers and everything. So I know people look at my Facebook sometimes, I mean my Instagram, and they're like, wait, what are you doing? You just like posted a picture of your daughter and then you posted a tweet, a teaser of a book of two people having sex. I'm like, well,
we have to separate your Instagram accounts pretty soon.
Right. I need separate ones, but I'm not like the technical person to say
yeah.
back and forth. Like I can't, like it bothers me, but eventually I'll get there.
So as a reading teacher, what makes literacy so important? And maybe it's in the community that you teach or anything like that. Why have you dedicated your life to doing this?
Well, mainly it's because I focus on kids who can't read, and I want them to fall in love with reading, because I've seen how far reading can take you, whether it's in a reading class, whether it's in science and social studies, whether you have to write a paper in college, or whether you get a job and you have to fill out a job application and you just can't do it because you have the reading level of a second grader. You know, it's reality. Like the kids aren't reading. So I've made it my like life's mission to focus on that and get them to fall in love with it. And once they fall in love with it and they realize why they love to read and what they love to read, they keep doing it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I was an early reader, but I mean, once I think reading is kind of a superpower, because if you don't have like similar interests to maybe your siblings or your cousins or whatever, you can find like-minded people, you can find like-minded characters in books, and you can kind of I don't want to say learn from their experiences, but you say, oh well, this guy did this, and it kind of helps you in your life. And as far as the growing up and starting to apply for college applications, starting to apply for jobs or anything like that, just having the power of literacy, it just opens up so many doors. And the more eloquently you can speak or write, I mean, just the better your chances are at making something of yourself, you know? So it's wonderful. Yeah,
it is. And I love the fact that I get to transform their thinking. Like they all come to me saying, I hate reading. And I'm like, I don't think you hate reading. I just think you haven't found like the perfect book for you. So I actually sit down. I'm their life coach, and they know that. I'm their reading life coach. So I sit down and I talk to them, and I get to know them as a person, and try to build relationships with them. And then once all that comes out, I realize what books to introduce them to.
Mm-hmm. So
like a lot of my kids love Ellen Hopkins. Have you heard of her?
I have not, no.
She writes phenomenal things. And the way she writes is like in poetic verse, and there's hidden messages in her pages. Like you'll read it like left to right, and then you have to literally go back and read it like a poem from top to bottom. And the kids, when I showed them how to do it, they were like, what?
Interesting. That's really cool.
Right? That's how I was when I read her.
Yeah, that's great. So
yeah, she has some amazing books for the youth, and her stories are real. Like she actually wrote this book, and yes, it's about drugs, but it's about her daughter, when her daughter was introduced to drugs and how it like changed her life and changed their family's life forever. Like it's amazing. The book is called, her first one is called Crank.
Oh.
And the second one is called Glass.
Dang, yeah. So they're well, they're about real subjects, and
exactly.
I think that's probably why she's finding a lot of success. And she's doing it in such a creative way. Yeah. That's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, I know.
And do you know where she's from?
All your time.
Oh. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for hopping on.
No problem. And I can't wait to see what you finish. I'm really excited. Please share it on Twitter. I'll follow you so that I can get it when you're done.
Oh, I definitely do. And if anybody in chat thinks any of their friends would like to hop in, feel free to hit that tell a little birdie button. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Bye. All right, Rambling Crafter. Right now I'm using a Pentel Feud brush pen, and these are really cool. The ink all lives up here, and then when you squeeze it, it goes down into the well, then goes into the brush. So you can control how dry or wet the brush stroke is. For me, my hands are a little bit shaky, so you will see, I'll show up here, that my letters are a little not smooth, or a little kind of rough. So later I'm going to have to clean them up with a Micron pen. And if anybody else in the chat wants to jump in and tell me your favorite book, why, your favorite quotes, how has a book changed your life? I'd love to hear it. Okay. Sometimes when I'm talking and I do this, one of my cameras. Oh, no problem, no problem. Yeah, sometimes when I do this and I'm speaking to the camera, I lose track of what's going on down here. And not only misspelling words, but I completely forget to write words. So I always got to find a creative way to kind of correct what I just did, what damage I've done. And it looks like I might be running a little bit out of space. Sometimes my brush strokes don't work with my sketches. They don't agree. And also being a lefty with these brush pens makes it a little bit more difficult because the ink doesn't dry very quickly. It's just more chances for me to smear what I'm working on. Okay, reading gives us some place to go when. That's where we are so far. Okay, done with this one. Oh, hello, Skeptic Shock, Chi-Town Atheist. Welcome, welcome. Hello.
You know, it said that doubt. What did it say? Doubt causes.
Oh, doubt.
What did it say on the front of the? Hold on.
Oh, the premium one? Previous one?
No. It said. Oh, you changed it.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. Well, you changed it. Yeah. Before it said doubt causes.
Yes. I have that one.
More something than failure.
Yeah, I have that over here. I think it was doubt kills more dreams than failure. Yeah, I think it was doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Yeah? Here we go. Okay. Go on. Ooh, unless we are frozen here. Sometimes Blab doesn't work too hot with mobile data, depending on how strong the reception is in your home. So we might be running into those type of issues, Skeptic Shock.
I think failure doesn't exist. Failure doesn't kill dreams.
Correct. Right. I agree with that for sure.
Only doubt does.
Yeah, it's a little frozen there, Skeptic Shock.
All right, but failure doesn't
Right.
kill dreams. Doubt
Right.
does.
Because failure.
Failure.
Oh, yeah.
Failure is information. Failure is a state. Failure is a state of being at a time and place. Doubt is a self-identity.
I completely agree. Because failure is just, you're building upon, it's just something to take away from and learn from. But when you doubt on something,
I think failure is our internal dialogue trying to discourage us from taking the risk of succeeding.
discourage us from taking the risk of succeeding. I think, yeah, that's a very valid point.
Wait, I think I got it backwards. I don't think failure is. I think doubt is our internal dialogue that's trying to protect us from the sadness of failing when we think we should have succeeded.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we don't do anything.
And then you haven't gained anything. You haven't learned anything.
Actually, failure is believing the doubt.
Failure. I suppose you could define failure like that, couldn't you? Because you really have failed if you've given up. If you've started to doubt yourself, you really have failed.
Yeah. No, not if you started to doubt yourself. You still can doubt yourself, but if you overcome it, if you allow yourself to be vulnerable and identify it, then you've succeeded. You've grown. You've functioned within vulnerability. That's progress.
Okay.
That's getting out of your comfort zone.
I like that. This feels man-made. Man-made? Man-made? Sugar Roads?
Sugar!
Man-made. Skeptic Shock. So today we're doing reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. Do you have a favorite book or quote that kind of... All right.
Yeah, Pedagogy of the Oppressed.
And of course, I did this. I did the one thing I knew I would do. By talking, I mess up my thing. So what can you tell me about that book?
Okay. So much. Pedagogy of the Oppressed was written by Paulo Freire.
Mm-hmm.
He's passed away now. He was a teacher and activist in Brazil that was helping empower the workers to read and write. He was jailed for it because the workers being able to represent their own interests were a threat to the to those that exploited their labor. Okay, so he was jailed. He wrote Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Pedagogy is the philosophy of education, and the oppressed are the people. And he started to analyze what education is, and the model of education, what oppression is, and he recognized that the only way to end oppression is for the oppressed to liberate the oppressor. Because the oppressor cannot let go of oppression. It's based on fear. It's not based on humanization. So if we humanize each other, then we liberate each other from constraints that are manufactured to dehumanize.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay? So if we nourish each other, then we create fulfillment for each other. He also identified that the problem with this is that the oppressed, all they know is that masculinity is identified stereotypically as being dominant. So they correlate dominance with masculinity very often. And instead of liberating the oppressor, the oppressed often try to replace the oppressor with themselves. So the idea is humanizing and not dominating. He also talks about how education works in a large scale, and that it's a top-down approach, when in fact the real education is the relationship of learning between one who facilitates learning and all of the resources accessible. So a teacher is not there to dictate information. A teacher is there to demonstrate how to
and
learn.
to make information available and open.
So the teacher, a teacher needs to be a good student and allow the students to teach. A teacher needs to get out of the way and not be the dominant, but to be the facilitator of humanization and liberation. Then we create a world of problem solvers and abstract thinkers that can help us address, with an open and creative mind, ways of overcoming some of the obstacles to humanization. And this is achieved through praxis. Praxis.
I'm looking up the book right now on Amazon. Excuse me.
It's the greatest. I actually read about 5 pages or 6 pages of the first chapter in a blab, and it's available. I just read it. It's just straight reading. It's complicated reading, but it's very
well. It
good.
Sounds like you've got the idea pretty much nailed down. I think that was a really good intro to it. Yeah, it sounds great. And I don't know that anybody. I don't know that anybody would disagree with that,
really is.
Unless, well, the oppressors maybe, but they are not liberated yet.
People that want to maintain the status quo disagree with it. People that feel that their way is the right way will disagree with it. They have a right.
Well, they have so much to lose.
It's good that people disagree with it.
They think they do.
No, they don't. They perceive that they have a lot to lose.
Sorry, don't mind the earthquake test here. I'm erasing my pencil lines and
that's all right. Yeah, it's a perception. Humanizing means enhancing each other's lives.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. And let's see. We just don't see too much of it. When we do, people think we are crazy.
You know what? I don't know if it's presented. You know what? I don't think that's true. I think if we only talked about it, they would think we're crazy. But if you demonstrate it, people enjoy it. If you humanize someone and you show them that respect and you make it apparent that you're interested in learning from them and finding out what inspires them and helping them become inspired, then they appreciate it.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we always hear the saying, if it bleeds, it leads, and I think that's true for 90% of stories out there. But whenever we catch on to an actual case of somebody doing a ton of good in the world, that has, I think, a much higher amplification and a much higher, it's much more inspiring for other people to join than.
It invites
Definitely,
people.
definitely.
It encourages participation. It doesn't sell.
No,
It's not a media
not initially.
attention
Yeah.
grabber, but it's personal. And I don't think you can tell somebody to be a certain way, but if you demonstrate that you're a certain way, then your example becomes very profound.
Yes, I agree, and I think that goes back to your point about teachers, right?
Now, and this is the part about failure. If I set an example and somebody doesn't see it, or they reject my example, or they negatively judge it, that doesn't mean that I failed.
Go on.
It means that I maybe didn't listen enough, or that they just aren't there. It's not a failure, because everybody's an individual, and some people are gonna be in opposition to every concept.
So I was reading this book.
Okay.
Oh, this is one of my favorite books on. Sure.
Wait 1 second. But I succeed by trying to humanize, because I become more human when I try to humanize.
So it's fine if they're not with it. If they see your
right.
If they see some of your steps as failures, that's fine. It's not something that we need to.
But if I see it as doing something that is good, because I think it's good, not because I want to be seen as doing something good, then I've succeeded in making doing.
I would definitely agree with that. I do want to address Sugar Rose.
So I did a blab earlier today
where
I was asking people,
and what kind of responses did you get?
Yeah. So the title of the blab was, if you could attempt anything right now and you knew that you would not fail, what would you attempt? All right. So the kinds of responses that I was getting, people were a little confused, and what I was really asking.
And why don't you do it?
What is failure?
Why don't you try? Because I'm sure if no matter what the answer, no matter what the response was, a valid response from you could be, well, why? How do you know what you can't do unless you're trying it?
Well, failing isn't what you can't do. Failing isn't what you achieve. Failing is a failure is not even attempting.
Yeah, I always look at failure as kind of a badge of honor on your way to growing more skilled in something you do. So
I agree.
I do want to bring this back to the Literacy Day campaign. Hashtag that I got this tweet from, and one of the books I love about kind of achievement and getting in the right mindset is called The Energy Bus. Have you ever heard of this one? Okay, so it's a pretty quick read. It's a fictional book about one guy who's kind of down in the dumps. He feels like his life is at a dead end. He goes home and he's miserable. He goes to work, he's miserable. But then they talk about our happiness and our dreams as a bus. And you want to bring the right people on the bus. A lot of people are going to bring you down. Like all these people who see your failures as face value failures and say, oh, no, that guy sucks. He's never going to make it. He's doing all this. Those are the people, if they want to think that way, fine. But you don't have to include them in your life all the time. What we should be doing is surrounding ourselves with these people who have the same energy as us. They see what we're doing, and they're willing to get on board. And like you said, humanize that other person. If you wanna help the cause, build them up. Building them up builds you up, and eventually, you all get on this energy bus of theirs, and you ride it to the top. And I highly recommend it. Not a long read at all, but it's
Okay.
yeah. It puts your dreams and your steps to attain it in a pretty fun and illustrative light. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it's kind of
That
like
one
Move My
people keep
Cheese.
telling me to read. I have it. I haven't read it.
It's similar. You can't read everything.
That's true. It was just never one of those that really appealed to me, but
Well, you already have the concept. Somebody else may have read it and they didn't associate that with what you were describing, maybe. So. Where I
did
put
you
my-
check
do you know
your
where I
junk
put my
drawer?
scissors? No, I'm going to check my sofa because I've dropped stuff down
It sounds
there.
like a
Oh my
horrible
God, it's
place
so
to store your
filthy, it is
scissors.
unbelievable. Well, I was cutting some tape the other day because I had to make it fit into something, and I think my dog is on my
yeah.
sofa, so I'm not going to
Yeah,
worry
we
about
got
it.
2 puppies and they're sleeping in the living room right now. So earlier, oh, look at him or her. Cute. Oh, hey, hot sauce.
Her name's Hot Sauce. Hi, good girl. You're very
You
good.
never-
You are a good girl. Can I have a kiss? Can I have a kiss? You're a good girl.
I think I tell my puppies I
She's
love
a
them
good
every day.
girl.
I think they know what I'm saying, and I think they appreciate it.
They do get vocabulary, certain words,
Mhm.
simple stuff, but they get it.
If anybody else wants to join the conversation with your favorite book and why, what is your name? Skeptic Shock, by the way. Hi, Eric. I'm Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Eric. Nice to meet
Yeah, you had a
as well,
great
sir.
rundown of, what was it, Pedagogy of the Oppressed? Now that is something that I may
Yeah.
actually
It's-
read, not Who Moved My Cheese, but
It's a hard read.
will it put me to sleep
It's
at
actually
night?
a hard read. No, I think it'll stimulate you,
Okay.
but I think it'll take a long time
Well, at
to get
least
through
I've
the
been
book.
warned.
Yeah. I recommend it to everybody. I think it's really a masterpiece, and
Oh,
sadly, I met him, and I hadn't read the book, and I knew nothing
Oh,
about
man.
him. And then he died, and I couldn't. Yeah, and I wish I would have known about what he represented, because I think he's a hero. I mean, I think he is. I mean, he was a brilliant man, and what he represents to me now, it's not like martyrdom, but he represents a desire to really liberate it, for people to be liberated and to be happy, and I think that's very admirable.
so, do I use, one moment, do you use different sizes of the microns, or do you have the one? Well, so Rambling Crafter, right now I'm using a 08 size, and I can't tell you what actual size it is because all my information is worn off. But yeah, I use different ones from time to time. If I need for Tweet to Papers, I usually use the graphic pen, which kind of has a tapered edge to it. Sure thing.
I'll be right back.
Or use the 08. I like the 03, but my dog bit my 03 and it's broken. And then I have the brush pen. The brush pen for microns aren't as nice as the Feud, and you can't get as much control, but they do serve a purpose sometimes. And then for other work, the graphic one is pretty sweet. You can control the width of your line a little bit easier with that one. For other work where I need to do a lot of detail, Yeah, I will use the smaller microns. Okay, almost done with the black ink here. Hello, Ray. Thanks for joining. I'm just finishing up on my black ink portion of my tweet to paper, and it is, where are you at? Reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. And this tweet came from, I have her name up here, Martina A. Boone on Twitter. And it was in honor of International Literacy Day. A couple of us have jumped on here to talk about our favorite books and why literacy is so important to them.
Aaron, I'm going to run, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm going to throw a couple more props your way and give you a follow. I am interested. Yeah, it sounded like you had an interesting chat before.
Oh, thank you. It was really fun, and I do it a lot. That sometimes the chat is, what is it that will touch, move, or inspire? What things touch, move, or inspire you? When you get people telling you what it is that would inspire them, then I think it conditions them to recollect what it means to feel inspired and how satisfying it is. Yeah. And it also is telling other people how to help you be inspired.
Yeah, that's a great thought. And yeah, I'm with you. Get conditioned to feeling those good feelings. Know that you can feel this good, and just continue to build people, right?
Yeah, well, and it's like putting something positive out there. It's unexpected, and it sort of stops people in their tracks. It really does. And when people start talking about their gratitude, it really beautiful.
It really is. And yeah, positive things, unfortunately, are very unexpected, but we see, you hear about those days where people are just pushing random acts of kindness constantly. And whenever you see one, it's such a delight, and it's truly inspiring, and it causes kind of a ripple effect, I think.
Yeah. I can't control anybody else. But if I am able to find a real genuine satisfaction in my interactions with people, then I assume that they will benefit as well, because I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm with them. I'm present. They're present with me. And they know I'm not judging them, and they're not judging me. So it allows people to feel safe and not have to worry about a hidden agenda.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons a lot of people are afraid to open up about, what they care about, what inspires them, is because they might feel judged. They might have felt judged by other people they've spoken to, but yeah, if you can get into a forum where it's acceptable, it improves a bunch of open communication, and it's great to have.
And it creates community. I'm an atheist, and when I talk with Christians on Blab, I'm finding that I'm not looking to defeat them. I'm looking to listen to them and appreciate them, and to encourage them to find fulfillment in their faith.
I'm sure that's a tough message to sell for most people, isn't it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Because I don't say it. I demonstrate it. So if I ask a question, I'll say, I'm going to ask you a gotcha question, but
Well,
there's
you
no
preface
wrong
it with
answer.
that it's going to be a gotcha question, so that helps a little bit buffer it, huh?
Right. Because I don't
Mhm.
want people to think that I'm trying to blindside them. Because that doesn't help anybody. And it's really, in the
Mhm.
long term, in the long run, it's not satisfying. What we often do is we repeat patterns of exchange that we observed as developing children, and we try to use the same coping mechanisms that we did as children when we're adults. And it's really not satisfying, and we never actually stop
that
it
I
unless
agree
we make
with.
a conscious effort.
Well, it's very
Myself,
tough to do.
I'm really guilty of it, and it was brought to my. It is very tough to do, but being aware of it and seeing that you can do it builds self-esteem. It really
Being aware
does.
of
that
Oh.
we're repeating old patterns out of familiarity, and not because they're healthy. We're trying to solve problems that we observed as
Well, a
children.
lot of it is recognizing what needs to change, right? Whoops.
And listening if other people see it and tell you about it. That's where I became aware of this.
Well, looks like it's.
Yeah, it is. All right, I'm going to let you go, though, but it was really, really, really great to meet you.
Freezing up a little bit there, Eric. And Rambling Crafter. My top-down view just died. It was my cell phone. And but it's okay.
Oh,
I'll show you what I'm doing right now. I'm just adding some. Thank you. I'm adding the
It's very
border
nice.
going around it. And let's look at Rambling Crafter. Since my camera doesn't work, my favorite quote is, "Art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life." And I would love to hear her expand on that or see her type it.
How about this? I like this one. It's from Jon Kabat-Zinn. It's a title to one of his books. And he says, "Wherever you go, there you are."
I drew that one up one day, I think. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
To me,
I do too.
well, one, that always reminds me of the Brady Bunch movie, a very Brady movie or whatever, take a sequel. But also, just like Winnie the Pooh and the Tao of Pooh, it's appreciating where you are, what you're doing in that moment. I was reading another book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe I don't have it. But yeah, I read another book talking about appreciating being in the moment, because we often defer our happiness for something that we're building towards in the future, or maybe a problem that is kind of on our minds in the future. And what happens is we're stuck. Maybe you're at a barbecue with friends and you're supposed to be having a good time, but you can't because you're thinking about, oh, well, this project is due and this and this and this. And eventually you put off your happiness, and then where are you? You're 40 years down the line and you haven't really experienced it the way you should have.
Welcome to my world. That's actually a tough lesson that I'm learning.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Better late than never.
I think not just you, it's a tough lesson for tons of people, because especially in our culture, it's just like, okay, well, you put everything on credit cards, you get loans, and you feel like you're burdened under the weight of all these things, and then you never have time for now. Which is a bummer, because you don't know if tomorrow is guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Well, we never get to tomorrow.
And it's
because
always
we always
tomorrow.
have something else also.
Okay. Well, if you want to stick around, I'm almost done, actually. I'm just going to hit these. Okay.
I'm actually going to run, but it was really,
Yeah,
really,
thank you.
really
Thank you.
nice
You
to
too.
meet you, and
And
I wish you all the best.
I'm going to try to get through that book.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let me know what you think. I think you're going to really appreciate it and probably use a lot of the. I think you're going to implement a lot of the concepts. I think you probably already do. So it might just really reaffirm or actualize some things that you've already thought about.
Okay. Thanks, Eric. Have a good day. Bye. Hey, Cody. Thanks for joining. My other camera just kind of dropped off. But what I'm working on here is today's Tweet to Paper. Oh, Cody bounced. That's no problem. Continue on. Okay, and that will actually conclude Tweet to Paper with reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are.